Hello everyone, Eli here from Nintendo Network 64. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about Switch sales in the second week in Japan. Now we got sales out, and honestly things are looking relatively mediocre. After a stellar launch last week, the Switch actually sold record numbers in Europe and North America. It looks like things are slowing down dramatically in Japan. Now, we don't really know why. This could be due to stock shortages. This could be due to other reasons, and I want to discuss that all now. So first off are the numbers. In the second week on sale in Japan, the Switch sold 62,000 units. This brings the total number of units sold to 391,000. By comparison, in its second week, the Wii U sold 127,000 units. That's more than double the number that the Switch sold in its second week, and that brought its total unit sales to 435,000. So by its second week, Wii U sales were about 45,000 units ahead of the Switch in its second week. Now, there are a few reasons for this. Number one, the Wii U launched during the holidays. Now, obviously, in Japan, Christmas and the holiday season is not as big of a thing in the West, but there's still gift-giving. It's still a holiday, especially in recent years. So, of course, holiday season would have some sort of effect. And really, we want to compare January sales to, say, April sales here this year and see how those comparisons turn out. Second of all, there are shortages that people are talking about in Japan. Now, this is valid reasoning for why the Switch may have not sold more. However, I'm a little bit skeptical. The Wii U had shortages. There was also limits in the numbers that sold because of the shortages. This time around, the Switch could very well have shortages, but Nintendo explicitly said they were shipping a larger number than they originally intended, that there wouldn't be shortages this time around. So, although shortages are definitely a possibility, I feel like that would be much less of a possibility because Nintendo explicitly said they were trying to avoid shortages. Nevertheless, it'll be important to keep out in the coming weeks how well the console sells when there are restocks in a lot of stores. Nevertheless, the Switch is not performing as well as the Wii U did in its first weeks on sale in the country. Software-wise, it's the same story. Breath of the Wild sold 44,000 units in its second week. Also, we need to point out the Wii U version of the game sold about 62,000 units in total, 17,000 units last week, so you can pad that amount with the number of Switch sold because obviously it was on two consoles as opposed to the Wii U catalog, which was all on just the Wii U. So Breath of the Wild sold 44,000 last week, bringing the total to 231,000. By comparison, by this point in the last generation, New Super Mario Bros. U sold about 71,000 in its second week, almost double the number of Zelda. But its total numbers were at 235,000, which is about the same amount as Zelda has sold. So the number one launch game, about the same amount in its first 2-week period. The next comparison is going to be the casual game, and the second most sold would be 1-2 Switch. It sold 21,000 units last week, coming to about 100,000 total. Nintendo Land, by comparison, sold 41,000 units in its second week, so once again, more than the second week of the Switch games, but total about 114,000, so about the same amount as 1-2 Switch. So far, I feel like the conclusions we can draw is that the Switch's launch has been about as successful as the Wii U launch. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. The Wii U's launch was actually pretty successful. It only fell off later in the new year in 2013 when there was a drought of software and a lack of new releases really crashed the console, and that's when we started getting sales of like 5,000 a week in Japan, and that was just horrendous. But this year, it's looking about the same for the Switch as the Wii U, which isn't a bad thing, considering the Wii U's launch was not that bad. Moving forward, there are a few key things to look forward to. Obviously, sales for next month and through the summer, and especially after big console releases. Obviously, we know that software is coming out like ARMS, Splatoon 2 should be a huge hit in Japan, and other games like Mario Kart Deluxe should definitely boost the sales in the country. So that's what we want to pay attention to, and of course I foresee the Switch outselling the Wii U in the coming months in comparison. Those are some factors we want to look out for, are those software releases to pad the launch numbers in the coming months. So thanks everyone for watching, I really appreciate it. What do you guys think about these sales? Do you think the Switch is in trouble? Do you think it's just because of stock shortages? Do you think we should wait longer, perhaps into the summer or even into the holiday? Let me know what you think, and we'll see you guys next time for more sales data.